Hello. Welcome everybody again to Shelfside Spurs Show. Another week, another 2 Tottenham games to discuss, another 4 Tottenham legends to discuss those 2 games with. I'm getting confused between 4s and 2s. So tonight we've got Rez, or he's calling himself Roz after your Irish variant, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a pain to the whore from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So good evening.
If anyone deserves a nod, it's her.
Yes.
Kev, you were going to. Where's your Irish spelling there?
Quivine.
Quivine, yeah. Lee Quivine himself.
Quivine, it's CAOMHIN.
Is that your actual spelling on the old birth certificate, or just the way Kevin's?
No, definitely not. But I think to avoid all my fans, I think I might change it.
And you say you share that name with who? Was it a reserve goalkeeper from
Liverpool? Standing Liverpool keeper, Kevin Kelleher.
Right. Is he an Irish lad? Is he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. And down there, we've got Barry from EastEnders, Sean Williamson, aka Nick, aka Stelios from EasyJet. How are you, Nick? How are you?
I'm all right. I just realised I need to tidy up a little bit.
I know. I'm just looking at the background. I didn't realise you were an artist. There's like an easel there. You've been painting a portrait of Jimmy Greaves or something.
It's wedding easels and.
Oh right. Yeah,
over by wedding stuff. So I need to find a proper home for it because it's just everywhere. So yeah. Sorry, I wasn't on last week. I got booked for a concert after our little discussion.
Barry, what's that? The one song that Barry from EastEnders sings?
Oh God!
Funnily enough, Sean Williamson is actually a really, really good singer.
Yeah, he is. I thought you were going to say really nice guy. Thanks, Reg.
Well, you two did meet in person for the first time at the.
We did all meet in person. Yeah,
Chelsea.
That's true. That's true. That was a real pleasure. Although
we met momentarily, but Rez disappeared to the bar for about 40 minutes to get around it. And we thought you'd done a runner, Rez. We thought you'd done a runner.
2 beers and a bottle of water.
We're like, has he realised Levy's prices here? He just fucked off to his seat, so he didn't have to get around it. We're actually saying to each other, has he done a runner here? Has he got his seat already?
Standing there negotiating the price.
Yeah. Imagine that negotiation bars. Afternoon, I guess, in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah.
Evening Canadian. Over here. The Canadian. There's London live from Rez's front room. I presume it's your front room, isn't it, Rez? Your study.
It's my study.
There you go.
It's my study.
All the mod cons, they are study. If anyone wants to join us, the link is in the description and the chat bar. Just click on that and come and join us if you want to join in the mass debate tonight. Before we get on to the first of the 2 matches this week, the Chelsea game, we've got Nick's White Hart Memory Lane, haven't we, Nick?
Have we?
Just sprung it on you there.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
Magnus Magnuson, we should begin. Why Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
Because I don't know. I like everyone. I think we like being disappointed and get really excited, and then we just get disappointed. No, I think I was quite young, and young and naive, and didn't know what I didn't want to, I guess, follow the norm and support.
That's when they get you.
Yeah, and that's when they get you. So, yeah, I mean, I think I was about 14, 15, playing cricket at a local club, and a few of the players there supported Spurs, and being young and naive and not wanting to, rock the boat, as I was only sort of started playing with the adults, I kind of veered towards Spurs through them, really.
You've regretted it ever since.
No, but I guess that was really it. I guess there is a similar Harry Kane picture with me in an Arsenal shirt, probably when I was 8 years old. So obviously he's gone on to do a
Get
bit better.
out now.
So he's gone on to better things rather than kind of I have. But I think it was a case of, that was there was that didn't really last long, so which was good. But
Lee McQueen's face down there, he was disgusted.
Yeah. But no, so and that's really how I become, to be a Spurs fan. Obviously, a lot of people around the area support Spurs where we live, and then obviously through various cricketing teams and everything else that I've kind of gone on to, that there's always been someone, and then I've obviously met you guys and Gaz and everything else. So it's kind of just followed. I think we follow each other around like a bad.
Where was the cricket club where you originally?
It was Penn Street.
Okay.
So just in between, just outside of Amersham.
Yeah.
For those
those in the know. The first home game. Can you remember the score and the score?
We lost. Unsurprisingly, we were playing Stoke City. I think it was 2014. It was the first game that I'd ever been to, and Bugden's, obviously Mr. Bugden's wonderful wife's dad, Frank, had a ticket in the Gary Mabbott Lounge, and it was the first time of going to a football game. Obviously Spurs lost, and it was just a bit of a strange experience, because it was you walked out and then kind of sat in these nice seats, and then you kind of didn't feel like you could cheer, and then you walk back in again at half time. Everyone's glaring at you like, who the fuck are you lot coming in here? And then you kind of just went, oh, well done, chaps, and that was about it. So you didn't feel like you could kind of get involved. So
who was the legend in the lounge because Gary Mabbott used to have guests coming in and out, didn't he? Was Gary Mabbott in there?
It was just Gary Mabbott, yeah. Gary Mabbott came, and it was my first. I mean, it was nice, but I wouldn't want to do it again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gary Mabbott was there. Nice meal, but I don't think
ultimately we lost.
Yeah, ultimately we lost. Obviously, Crouchy just returned, so it was a good reception for him. I think we were 1-0 down inside 30 minutes. Something like that, 20 to 30 minutes. I'm sure Rez can find it as I'm talking. But we lost. Ultimately, we played rubbish and we lost 2-1. So
we scored then? Who scored for us?
Do you know what? I'm waiting on Rez, hopefully, to find it. It was someone that memorable. I don't know whether it was Nasser Chadley, maybe.
Chadley.
So, there you go. So I remember more than I think I remember the food more than I do the game. So
Kettle
surprise.
He's got his priorities right. He's got his priorities right.
Yeah. Exactly. Have you got the line up there, Rez? Who was that?
Yeah, just bringing it up now. If my Wi-Fi decides to work, here we go. Right, let's have a look. So Pochettino in charge, apparently. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe I've got the wrong game. Oh, I've got the right game.
Did we lose 2-1 that one?
Different game that we also lost 2-1 to Stoke at home. This would have been 2018. Sorry, wrong game.
Bit of a bogey team then.
Yeah, isn't it? Here we go. 2014, is it? 14. Yeah, here we go. Right. Yeah, 2014. So let's see the lineups for Spurs. Lloris in goal. Back four of Norton, Kabul, Fazio, and Rhodes.
Is there any wonder we lost?
Yeah. Midfield two of Capoue and Ryan Mason. Then Townsend, Ericsson, and Chadley in front of them, and Kane up top. And Norton got sent off in that game.
Do you remember that, Nick?
No.
Who scored our goal?
Our goal was Chadley.
Chadley again. Like scored against Stoke, didn't he?
Yeah. So that one was Chadley. 77 minutes, but we were already 2-0 down by that point. And then Norton got sent off on the 85th minute and probably put the result to bed, I would say.
Don't remember that at all. That's probably there.
Nick, who's the manager?
Yeah, he was the manager in 14.
Manager was Pochettino.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
was
I thought
2000
because he was the one that brought Mason through, wasn't he, Kev? So I guess it would have been around that time.
It's 2014. So yeah.
Someone put on Twitter the other day, Kev, that there's a goal that Ryan Mason scored. You know, when he got clumped by the keeper, when he sort of played a little 1-2 and he broke through. That might have been Stoke as well. And I remember at the time he was playing beautifully at the time, and we thought we got a right gem on our hands here. And he'd hurt his knee in that challenge. He said he had to play on for like the next 3 months with a really bad knee injury. And it was just when he was starting to, like me and Rez were talking backstage about Skip starting to stamp his authority in the team. It was similar to Ryan Mason. He was starting to do that at the time, and then he got that injury and then dropped out of the team, and he never really found his way back again, did he? But what might have been if he had, and he injured himself scoring the goal, didn't he? So what might have been bravery to go forward and challenge with the keeper to put it in. What were we going to say, Kev?
No, I'm just listening and going along with the general dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick, first away game?
Well, there hasn't been one yet.
Look at that.
I'm still trying to get to one. Obviously,
the possibilities are endless.
I don't have enough points because Levy's chopped all mine from when I got my season ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. So there hasn't been. It's not, all your tales. It's going to be quite short and sweet compared to everyone else. So.
Fair enough. First Spurs shirt
was the Holston Adidas. What was that? 19. I'm just trying to think.
98. Ginola's one, wasn't it? 98, 99.
Yeah. So that was my first one, and that was because there was the buzz and excitement around actually having a decent shirt sponsor.
After the pony years, the Baron Pony years.
After the Baron Pony years, and it was just like, we got Adidas, and then it was like, it's kind of gone. Yeah, that's the one.
That one.
Yeah.
I've got that. I've got that one with Ginola on the back somewhere. I've got it around here. Still my original one. I can still fit into it.
I can't fit into mine.
Available on eBay for £45.
Original. Oh dear.
Apparently.
Available on what's that site, Nick?
DHgate.
DHgate for probably about £5.
Probably about £5, but you got to wait 6 months for it to arrive.
At this stage, we could probably get a sponsorship logo zipping across here, sponsored by DHgate.
Yeah.
I want to get that green Champions League one from them.
Levy will have us shut down, mate, if he sees anything that doesn't have the official Tottenham Hotspur shop on it.
It's fine. Just offer him a cut.
Well,
I'm sure that'd be his first.
I bought this and the other top from the shop, so
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's such a Levy thing to do as well, though, isn't it, Rez? Like if you found a site knocking off cheap ones, just give me a cut and I'll let you carry on.
Well, there was one of them, LJ, the one that I got the other kits from. They kept having it taken down on Facebook because Levy or someone at the club had found out, and they were like, "We're not stocking any shirts from Spurs because we keep getting taken offline and everything else because they're reporting it." And then I had the shirt that I'd got, and I tried to put it on Facebook Marketplace, and then it got this has been removed because it's been reported for being not from
a knockoff.
Hooky.
Yeah.
Hooky gear from the old Stelios Greek there.
Yeah, it's from my Greek connections.
Yeah. Who was your first Spurs hero when you first started supporting him? Who was the guy that made you think, I like this guy?
Well, it was David Ginola, I think. Just with the shirt, the flowing locks. Obviously, doesn't remind me of myself or Rez or Kev or Jens.
I've got flowing. What about
only
my flowing locks?
LJ, you're the only one with the flowing locks out of all of us.
Yeah, flowing
it was
locks.
just, I think it was just played the brand of football that we all love to watch and we've not seen for a long time. It just, it's a breath of fresh air. And that was,
It's quite apt, isn't it, that as of yesterday, we're talking about an enigmatic, flamboyant Frenchman coming to rescue our team. He's inconsistent and doesn't really defend, but he's brilliant on the ball and makes you love watching football. In the spirit of Ginola Tatango. You just reminded me. David Ginola used to have a website and he used to interact with fans. He used to have questions of the week. So as a probably 14, 15-year-old, I sent in a question to him. I remember my question is like, who do you room with on away days? And he had this weekly thing called Radio Ginola. Radio Ginola. And he used to read out questions from the fans every week. And he actually read out my question. So I had it as my ringtone on my phone for ages, and my text message alert. It's like, this next question is from John from Amersham. I was like, come on, my life has peaked. That's it, no more. And the website's down now, so I can't. I was going to get it digitally downloaded and stuff. So David, if you're watching,
he was also on the Danny Baker show with Fatima Whitbread that I've just found. I'm not sure. I think that
my question. How did my question find its way via Fatima Whitbread?
I don't think your question went there, but I think that was after probably. I mean, they probably should have taken that link down, not the one of your David Ginola.
Oh, Radio Ginola, yeah. So hopefully his servers have stored it somewhere, and I can retrieve my question where the day me and David shared the universe, and he answered my question and said my name. What's the next one? Here we go. Favorite all-time Spurs player.
Favorite all-time Spurs player
was.
Yeah, it has to be Jimmy. Really, I think Kev hit the nail on the head there. Just we were talking about it and looking at those records and just looking at the pitches that they played on, and you can imagine Jimmy Greaves on the pitches now. He would be unbelievable. He was unbelievable then. But to see him on the absolute carpets that they're playing now, and I think everyone said it. He would just be ridiculous. There's even now looking at the records, and only Messi and Ronaldo are ahead of him, and you just think that it's I don't see how anyone's gonna get ahead of him apart from those two, and the records will stand, and just that I think on Sunday, obviously we'll come to the game, but on Sunday in the reception, I don't know about what you and Rez thought, LJ, but I got quite emotional, and it was really loud, and it was a fitting send off. It was I guess there's no perfect timing, so to speak, but if there was a perfect game it would have been Sunday's game. And I
Shame
think
about our performance.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that didn't live up to what should have been. But yeah, Jimmy Greaves.
100%. There's a great Jimmy story if I can share at this point.
Of course you can, yeah. Of course you can.
When he was at Chelsea, and he was still in the youth team, he was playing in this game, and the Chelsea manager, I think it was Ted Drake at the time, came to watch the youth play, and Jimmy scored 7 goals in the game. And Drake went up to him after the game to congratulate him. He congratulated him. He said, "But enjoy it, Jimmy, because this will never happen again." The very next game, Jimmy scores 8.
Someone said, "What player in the modern era would he be comparable to?" And I think it was Steve Perriman, and Graham Roberts said it was Sergio Aguero, the kind of player that Aguero is, but obviously better than Aguero. But that kind of player, like a deadly marksman, sharpest over a yard, nipping in front of people, finishing from all angles and stuff. He was a similar player to that, the way he glided around, and I can see this resemblances there. Really, obviously Jimmy's goal record stands for itself, doesn't it? What a left foot! Isn't it remarkable that a lot of the all-time greatest players have been left-footed? Maradona, Messi, Jimmy Greaves. What was George Best, Kev? Was he a lefty or a righty?
He's ambidextrous or pedidextrous. I don't know how you call it, but I'm not too sure about Greaves. I thought he was right-footed.
Well, that's testament to that, because of some of the left foot finishes he scored.
It didn't matter. Yeah, those truly important stars. I'm fairly sure Best was right-footed, but he could equally score with his left, or that's what when we were kids and we were watching live Georgie Best and Greaves. We also practiced religiously. I don't know about you guys down the line, but we would practice left and right. It was a thing we did. That's what we were told by the coach to do.
He said if you were predominantly right-footed, the coach used to tell you to take your right boot off and just wear a sock on that one, and then the boot on your left foot. So you practice your left foot. So because the balls were so hard in those days that you wouldn't kick it with your other foot, would you? So that my gramp said that's what their coaches used to make them do: take the boot off of their favoured foot, so they worked on their weaker foot. Speaking of Jimmy Greaves, that was my granddad's favourite player. He grew up around Essex, around the same area as Jimmy, and he was from the same sort of, I don't know, the same sort of town, the same sort of area. So it was a bit,
Dagenham.
it was a bit bittersweet for me when Jimmy passed, because it was like a link to my granddad that had gone. You know, as his favourite player, and he was talked about Jimmy Greaves, and you could see the esteem in which he held Jimmy. Yeah, it was shocking news. We'd just come off the pitch actually, where we played our Sunday league game, and one of the Chelsea guys goes, Jimmy Greaves had died, and I was just going around shaking hands with the other players. I just wasn't in the mood after that. It was just genuinely just flattened me, you know, like a really bad news. It's like, oh no. And we'd heard rumours that he was ill and stuff, but yeah. So let's let you take this point from Cody while we're on the subject of Jimmy Greaves. Kev, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the statue debate? Cody says no debate for me. Greaves, Nicholson, Rowe should all have statues, probably Blanchflower as well. What's your view on it, and more why do you think Levy's so adverse to having statues?
Looking at that lot down the road, they've got statues and they're a bit on the cheap side, I think. Probably because they've honoured people that were like 1 or 2 season wonders, I think. And, you know, all right, you've got those, I don't know. Greaves, I think, is an exception. I think he really is. But
Nicholson, definitely, and Arthur Ray as well, as Cody says.
Yeah, but then you go Mackay, you know, you know, Perryman, you know, Mabbott, yeah. But
how far do you go, you know?
I think you can make an argument. You can make an argument for Greaves, and you can make an argument for Nicholson. Greaves, you can make an argument for because he's the greatest English goal scorer of all time. That's something that transcends club-specific loyalties. Likewise, you can make an argument for Nicholson because he was the first manager to win the double in the modern era, and he was the first manager to win a European trophy for a British club. So those are arguments that you can make. Okay, fine. Yeah, you know, that then precludes the likes of Mackay and Blanchflower and Arthur Rowe and people like that. But there is an argument for those. And I think but what I think the reason that Levy won't do it is because it adds too much club-specific character to his entertainment complex. You know, what's an NFL fan going to think when they come in to watch, you know, the Green Bay Packers playing the
surely that's an opportunity.
London Fairy Boys or whatever. You know,
an opportunity to convert them to be Tottenham fans, over, isn't it? They'll see the statues and they'll learn about the history, like you've just.
You would hope. You would think.
Yeah.
But it's you know, the one thing about the stadium is that it's got character, it's got Spurs branding, but it's quite unobtrusive.
The program wall, yeah,
it's quite unobtrusive. It's little small details in amongst the enormity of thing, and it's beautiful. I'm not saying it's ugly or anything like that. It's a wonderfully constructed building, but the character is not in your face.
I'd be interested to see what his policy is on it, because he keeps saying it's not our policy to have statues. Why is it your policy not to have statues? Well, I can't think of any good reason why he wouldn't. I mean, he's obviously got his reasons that he's sticking to. If he's got his policy and he's sticking to it, what is the policy?
Well, it'd have to be maintained, wouldn't it? So that means you've got to pay someone to look after it. So what,
a marble statue inside the inner, you know, confines of the stadium,
well,
you know?
Yeah, but you would think that actually the perfect place for what we're talking about is on the concourse by the south stand, where you've got all of those.
That apron.
You've got that apron there that would be a perfect kind of fit, but then
keep it inside.
Perfect spot for it. You do it in bronze. You do it in bronze. It's not that expensive. You know, it's not that difficult to maintain. You just do it in bronze, and you just put it out there, and it's done.
I think he's got a personal issue with Greaves because there was also every time we did petitions and there was pressure on him to help out with Jimmy's health, bills and stuff. He was very dead against it, wasn't he? And like come out with these snotty answers about we contribute enough to the former players association without doing specific players and stuff. So Jimmy Greaves obviously said something about Levy. I bet if we search we can find some disparaging quotes by Greaves about Levy, and that's what's behind it, a personal issue which he's letting get in the way of his feelings towards Greaves, I'm sure. And I just can't think of any good reason why he wouldn't.
It wouldn't surprise me. We know how petty he can be. We know how petty and sort of childish he can be.
That's why Perryman doesn't go back often, because he said a few things about Levy, and he won't. Mm-hmm. He doesn't suffer fools gladly, does he, Perryman? He'll stick by his words.
Yeah. It's Levy. You toe the party line.
Yep.
And and you're in. You say one word, and you're out. That's why Mather is sort of one of the poster boys. That's why Ledley's one of the poster boys. These aren't men that will speak out about certain things. You can see them. The more outspoken the player. That's why Ginola is sort of kept slightly at arm's length, because there's always that possibility that he will, not necessarily deliberately, but he'll just say something that isn't PR friendly.
Yeah.
Can't be sort of fitted into the thing. So he's sort of over there, please, David.
With regards to the Arthur Rowe discussion from Cody, there's an argument there as well, Res, because as legend has it, that's where Barcelona picked up their tiki-taki style from Arthur Rowe's push and run style. There was an English coach who went over to Spain and they adapted it from that. So he has had a big impact on football, obviously push and run side, which Nicholson's team developed out of. So I can see why Cody's gone for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Blanchflower, what an orator he was. Have you seen that interview of him? I think he was on Parkinson or whatever, and he's talking about the ills of the game at the time, probably early 80s, I think it was. Very clever man, isn't he? Had some great ideas about the game and where we were with it, where everything was going wrong. What were your memories of Blanchflower, Kev?
Too late to be honest, before my time, really.
Yeah, with the Irish connection as well.
In Northern Ireland, but that's not a political statement, by the way. Sammy. No, he'd finished playing by the time I started watching, to be honest.
My favourite Blanchflower moment is when Eamon Andrews went to present him with his This Is Your Life book, and he said no and walked away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I mentioned about sorry.
Go on, Kev.
I was just about to say, we were talking about statues, and I switched to Arsenal there. I had a quick look while they were talking. 3 of the statues outside Arsenal are of living players. That's Bergkamp, Tony Adams, and Thierry Henry. They're still alive. I mean, why? It's like Madame Tussauds. You know what I mean? It's like it's not really.
Yeah, they're not.
I don't know.
Tribute trophies, are they?
No, I don't know. They're still there. They're still alive and walking and attending. And
for them, you can make an argument for them. There are arguments for Arthur Rowe and Blanchflower and Dave Mackay and all of that stuff. There's no argument that says these people are not worthy of statues when it comes to their specific clubs, right? Arthur Rowe won us our first league championship. That's important for Spurs. But the arguments for the likes of Greaves and Nicholson go beyond just what they did for Spurs, which is why you can make a stronger argument for them having statues, and ultimately Chelsea could turn around and put up a statue of Greaves without any problems. Why are we letting them potentially do it? Why don't we just strike while the iron's hot? The greatest English goal scorer of all time, number 3 on the top goal scorers in the 5 major European leagues. This is not Bergkamp for all his skill and his achievement for Arsenal. This is Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a stark reminder of the gap between those glory years and present day. You talk about 50 years of embarrassment, really, and it's a reminder of that. the gap that's opened up
That's
from
Mindy's
that
fault
time
as
to
well.
now.
Yeah, that might be very well, Kev. Also, Thierry Henry's a cheat, isn't he? So he doesn't deserve a statue.
Yeah, he's not liked in Ireland.
No, we cheated the Irish players out of participating in the World
handball.
Cup, didn't he? So there's
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, there's no comebacks from that. That's just he's robbed professionals of performing in a World Cup by
Once in a
cheating.
lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those players will never get the opportunity again. I had this argument with some Arsenal fans the other day. They were crowing about him on Monday night about what a legend he was, and I said he's a fucking cheat and he's a scumbag. I was also going about Salah as well in similar glowing terms because he's a cheat as well and he's always diving. They were going on saying Salah how underrated he is. He's such an underrated player. So he's a fucking cheat. No other clubs like him because he just dives all the time. Speaking of people we dislike, Nick, the next question: your most disliked Spurs player?
My most disliked Spurs player? What at the moment? it was all of them on Sunday. No, I think for me it was I'd have to choose two, and just one because of his ridiculous haircut, and that was Benoit.
Really?
Yeah,
Benny.
And
Disco Benny.
Yeah, and look at the disgust. Or Pascal Chimbonda was another one for me. That I think I've really upset Rez now. It's gonna be on his rant now.
Didn't you watch last week's show, Nick? We were going about how much we love Disco Benny, me, Gazza, and Rez, and everyone.
Love Disco Benny.
Going on there and everything else. So sorry, boys, but yeah, it was just. Again, had the substance, and but had the attitude a bit like Tanganga, Aurier, and the like. So, yeah. So
Aaron's on about Thierry, the cheat Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Must be a fullback thing. If you could go back in time to watch one famous game in Spurs history, which one would it be?
I mean. I think who was it that said they'd want to go back to the Ajax semi-final? I think someone said that the other week. But I think I'd want to go back to the 91 Cup semi-final when Gazza smashes that goal in. I think that would have been, that was almost. I mean, you can find our video of me, LJ, Gaz, Needs all over Facebook when that third Lucas Moura goal went in, but. I think you'd be hard fetched to see any, there'll be no Facebook or internet or anyone cheering up and down. But I just think being there and taking it in for pure atmosphere, and obviously against Arsenal as well. I mean, there's plenty of games that we could all choose, but I think I'd love to have seen Gazza play and seen him smash that goal in. So.
Excellent. Yeah, I remember I've said that on here before. My granddad came around to watch with me, but I was so nervous and about the game that I was watching upstairs. And I just remember Gazza smashing that free kick in, and it was like game on. And I went downstairs and watched the rest of the game with my granddad after that. What was your favourite era in your team?
I mean, obviously, because I haven't had a lot to go on, being a fairly young Spurs fan in terms of especially compared to Kev and a few of the other boys, it would it'd have to be I would say that last season at the Lane, that would probably be for me the best that I've probably seen us play as a team together. I can't really judge it on anything probably before that because we were shit before that. But
as featured on that DVD that I bought the other day, Nick. It's in the buckets as you queue up in the shop now. It's like the last season at the Lane DVD. Bonus. Which player got you the most excited when you first heard the news of their signing?
I think for me, it was Bale coming back. Now. We unfortunately didn't get the opportunity to see him, or some of us, because of everything going on, or some of us would have done. But I think it was just the excitement and the buzz and everything else. I mean, there's been, you look at all the signings and you see like on this day and you see through all the players that we signed, and I just think that actually it created that buzz again around with the fans. There was a lot of people. We were talking, and then
You've just reminded me I forgot to do Spurs on this day, didn't I?
Yeah,
the viewers will be livid.
They'll be livid.
That's all they tune in for. They don't want to hear us.
Yeah, they don't want to listen to the rest of it. They just
hear my crappy little book
in history, and that's it. Then they switch off. So yeah, I think for me it was that was there was a buzz. You could see see that everyone actually was it was that excitement again. There was because obviously. I don't
think we thought Levy could pull it off with the financials, did we? Because of the wages involved. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. As soon as you got that kind of hint, and then you thought, could it? Nah, of course it can't. It's Levy.
Not with Levy.
This isn't going to happen. And then it did happen, and I think that was when it's because we don't expect it. We don't expect signings, or we don't expect decent ones or fairly decent ones, or we haven't in the past few years. So
coherent ones.
Or or we need a creative midfielder. Let's sign another right back. That's So
I'm sure there's a plan there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, there is.
Go on, Rez.
We'll come to that. Oh,
yeah, go on.
It's every player that Levy purchases is done for financial reasons. It's not done for footballing reasons first, anyway. Yeah, if you've got a choice between player A, which would make footballing sense but makes no financial sense, and you've got player B that makes less footballing sense but makes financial sense, he'll go for player B every time.
Jack Clark,
every time. Yeah. Okay. Because it's not about. This is where we make the mistake, and this is fed by the likes of Sky and the BBC and all that stuff at the end of every transfer window, saying how much have Premier League clubs spent on players? The answer is actually zero. They haven't spent anything, because when we purchase a player, we don't. When Jack Grealish went to Man City, Aston Villa's bank account didn't go from like £4.37 to 100 million and £4.37 when he was holding up that shirt. The way that a player transfers is that the cost is spread across the length of their contract, and it also includes their wages. So Grealish, let's say you're accounting every month. On Man City's books, he'll appear as Jack Grealish, 2.5 million a month, because he's got a 6-year contract at 200,000 a week. If you do the maths, that's what it comes out as. It's actually less every month because it's all about the big finances. It's no longer a case of signing a check and sending a fax. This is big business, big finance you're talking about. So the key indicator is what I've mentioned before, is the wages to turnover ratio. And on that score, Spurs are rock bottom of the league. We spend the smallest proportion of our turnover on playing staff out of everyone, right? The last figures I found were 46%. The next step up team in 19th was Sheffield United, who spent 54% of their turnover. And that was the biggest step change between as you go up the table, apart from one, which was Brighton and Everton, right? The reason we don't have a well-managed, well-formed squad is because we make decisions based on the finances rather than on what makes sense on the pitch. And that has always been the case with Levy.
Reinvestment opportunity, yeah. Hence, again, Jack Clark and Sessegnon. Yeah. Can't you do both? Surely can't you do both in an ideal world? Say we need a left back, for example. Surely you look at the available options on the left back, and then Levy can go, well, he's probably better now, but this guy, we can probably make more money in the long run. We'll go for him. But he just does a scattergun approach. We can make more money if we sign these 16 right wingers, kind of thing. Well, it doesn't make sense, does it?
It's opportunistic. He's an opportunistic signing person, transfer.
Like we said last week with Paratici as well. That's an opportunity. He was available on a free because he was leaving Juventus. Levy wouldn't have had to pay any money. Director of football will get him in, get the flack off of me for a while. He's got contacts in Italy and other different contacts. We'll be able to fleece him for a few years.
And I think why the Traore deal didn't go through, the financial decision behind it was that he would cost a lot of money while he was with us on a monthly basis. And then at the end of that, there is very little comeback. Again, we've got to, you sort of start diving into the depths of sort of those nitty gritty of the finance. And my own education isn't complete on that, I'll have to say, but it's all about, it's all about the finances with him. And the reason that, and I think with Paratici, what he's done is that he shackled him really quite hard to say, you can't really buy, players with quite high sticker prices unless they're really young. That's why we bought Romero, because he's young, but we didn't buy Traore because he's not as young.
Depressing times. Nick, let's take it back up a level to less depressing times.
Less depressing.
If you could have scored one famous goal in Tottenham history, which one would it be? Apart from Gazza's free kick, obviously.
Apart from Gazza's, well, it would have to be any of Mora's 3 against Ajax, really. I think
apart from that one as well, those 3.
Apart from that one as well,
they're off the table.
You are you do what you keep asking me these questions. I'm giving answers, and you don't like the answers, so you're trying to give me another. Give me another one. I'm feeling
it's tough at the top.
Go for Greavesy second against Atletico Madrid.
Greavesy second against Atletico Madrid.
Apart from Greavesy second against Atletico.
I'm not having any of that. Come on, we've already. I've given you 3 there.
Have you ever got into a game hoping we'd lose to expedite a manager's sacking?
No. Like with Reds, we support the manager as much as we don't like what's going on in the pitch. I think it's there's no I don't think it's for us to go in there hoping that we're going to lose. And if you look at what happened to Martin Yo at half time or whatever, and everything else, it's that wasn't good. So yeah, I would say no.
What's the loudest atmosphere you've ever heard at the old or new lane?
I thought it was pretty loud for about 5 minutes on Sunday, but that was about it. But no, I think it was that game against United when we scored those 3 quick goals. And I don't think you'll ever replicate the noise at the lane. Because it was spine tingling, and like I said, obviously I wasn't at the Man City game, and it was pretty loud for 5 minutes on Sunday, but yeah, I think that would have to be for me. It was just, you didn't think you were watching Spurs in that game. The just way that they just took United apart. So yeah,
I don't think we've played the Gooners with the full stadium yet, have we? Or did we? In the new stadium, have we played the Goons?
No,
we had a North London derby.
I think you're right, Jay. I don't think we have.
No. A couple behind closed doors, and I guess this year will be the first one.
Rez is on it.
Yeah, Rez is on it.
I think you're right, actually.
Nick, what's your favourite match day Spurs pub? Last question.
The one we went into, I don't know what it was called because it was the first time I went in there with Gazza and Needs. I was driving as normal, even though I don't understand why LJ doesn't drive because he doesn't drink. But that's a different conversation. And we went in there and you walked through, and then you had the outside bit. And I think Needs. It was the first time I'd met Needs and Gazza were just pummeling beers down me. I think I was like 7 beers in, and I was like, lads, I need to stop because I've got to drive. So it was down past where the old shop was. So I don't know what it was called, but
it would have been the Bell and Hare, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it was. That's got a bit out the back, but with cans instead of.
Yeah. With cans instead of glasses and everything else. So yeah, I think we'd done about 6 or 7 beers in an hour, and then Needs and Gaz were like, "Come on, let's have some more." And I was a bit like, "Guys, I don't know how I'm going to sober up to drive home if I'm honest." So,
but you did.
But I did, yes. I'm not sure how much, but yes, I did.
If any police are watching, was I there?
No, I don't think you were.
Ah, I wonder where I was. Maybe I came up later on the
I think it was just Needs and Gaz.
special needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never played Arsenal
No,
with a full house
crowd. No,
at the new stadium. Yeah.
something to look forward to this season.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right, and that concludes your White Hart Lane, Memory Lane, My Spurs story. Thank you very much, Nick, for doing that. Sprung it on you there.
Thank you for springing it on me.
Now, I'm sure the watching millions have been waiting with bated Beth. Beth? Who is this Beth?
And why are you baiting her? What has she done to
you? So, are you ready?
Actually, one of my best friends is called Beth, so maybe it's her.
Maybe it's her. Maybe it's her. Couple of good ones on this day in history. So, 1989 is the first one. Following a slow start to his Spurs career, Gary Lineker finally found his feet in a league game at Carrow Road. The striker netted his first goal for the club, scoring the second of Tottenham's goals in a 2-2 draw with the Canaries, who have now drawn all 4 of their home games. Paul Gascoigne scored the first, with his England teammate guaranteeing a point for Spurs, who remained second bottom of Division 1. Jesus Christ, that's a good start to the season. I remember Lineker having a slow start. And also another good one.
The won it, isn't it?
89. Yeah.
I think.
Another good one here. Look, Glenn Hoddle scores one of the finest goals of his Spurs career as he chips the Watford goalkeeper in a 3-2 away win at Vicarage Road. The midfielder had a fine all-round game, with his strike providing added gloss. Substitute Steve Archibald scored Spurs' second, with Chris Hughton firing in the third to ensure the points headed back to White Hart Lane. What a goal that was. Do you remember it at the time, Kev?
I wasn't there, but I remember the Hoddle chip. It's iconic. You know, it's one of those. It always comes up on Spurs bids.
The little Cruyff turn first to make the space, and then the chip.
Beautiful. He knew what he was doing. He knew where he was going as he left his boot. Yeah, obviously.
One of the greats. I always remember the Oxford one as well. That little shimmy to put the goalkeeper on his arse.
That was his last game for us, wasn't it?
I think it was his last home game. Yeah. So we've got to talk about the Chelski game, I'm afraid, guys. Yeah. What did you? First of all, we'll start with Kev. What did you make of the lineup, the attacking lineup that Nuno went with? Did it surprise you?
It seemed like he went for it, but they weren't fighting. It was just that something missing again across the midfield. We were plonking balls from the back forward. They were going up into the centre circle, and there was just nothing happening from there. There was no real outlet. It was hit and miss for me.
Were you surprised that he played an attacking lineup? Do you think it was because of the criticism he'd had about?
I think he had to. Yeah, I think he had to. Yeah, and he nearly got away with it, but not quite. I'm afraid.
Good first half, Rez.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good 25 minutes in the first half, but it was. Do you know what the difference was? Do you know what the real difference was between us and Chelsea's performance, apart from the goals, apart from the result? They went about their job coolly, calmly, professionally. They knew what they were doing. They knew where each other were. They were a team. We played our game with fear and desperation and almost panic. That's where our intensity came from. It was like, we can't lose, and it was on the verge of disjointedness. And it's actually what you saw it at the Wolves game afterward, yesterday. And that was the key difference. This is where the problems at Spurs lie. It's not Nuno, it's not Mourinho, it's not Pochettino, it's none of that stuff. There's a cultural problem in that we play with fear. There's a very large streak of fear within the culture of this club at the moment, and it comes out on the pitch.
Fear of what?
Fear of failure, because so often what's happened with our squad, especially, and obviously it's changed over time, but it's like any workplace. If you've got a group of people that sort of work together and they have a particular mindset about their job, their organization, all of that stuff, and you bring new people in, the new people will eventually be infected by that. It's very difficult for a new person, especially when they're a minority, to change the group thinking. And what's happened with this squad over time is that we've come just to the edge of something good and have then suffered defeat. You know, examples of the Liverpool game last season was another example, was the latest example of that, in that we got right to the end of the game and we would have remained top of the table. And then that Firmino goal just knocks the stuffing out. And that's happened time and time again to the group, regardless of its makeup. And so I think there's a massive element of fear. We need some real sports psychologists to come in there and change the thinking. You would hope that the manager would do that, but Nuno doesn't seem to have the right charisma to do that. You know, he's a lovely bloke, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's nasty or anything like that, but he just doesn't have that. He doesn't have the Kante quality. He doesn't have the Mourinho quality. He doesn't have the Guardiola quality that can take this group and shake them up and say, come on. What you saw on Chelsea, the thing that I saw it against Chelsea after the second goal went in, was every single player, every single one of them heads dropped, and they were staring at the ground, and it was horrendous.
That was due to the deflected goal, though, wasn't it? It was a bit. I think here we go again. We've been back. We've been undone by a bit of bad luck.
That's precisely the point. But the point here is that if you've got a winning mentality, even when something like that happens, I expected at least one of them to start, geeing his teammates up. I didn't even see Højbjerg doing it. And that really shocked me. I thought, these people, someone grab your teammates by the scruff of the neck and actually instill some winning mentality in them. There isn't one. We don't have one that will do that, I don't think, at the moment. And I think that we can change managers until we're blue in the face. Until that problem's dealt with, we're not going to have sustained success.
Is there an element of fear of the crowd as well, Nick? Do you think?
Yeah, I think like we were saying, I think we were, and we'd had the conversation in the week. We weren't expecting anything. We saw the team sheet. We got excited. We thought, okay, this might be a little bit different. We saw the way that we started the game, and at half time we were a bit, okay, no, this is better than what we expected. But like Rez says, you always thought that Chelsea were going to score. You always thought that they were going to come, and Chelsea didn't look panicked by it. They were just like, it was the usual, it's only Spurs, boys. They probably walked in at half term and Tuchel was going absolutely mad at them, going, you playing like this against this bunch of clowns? And makes that one substitution, which changes the game. We don't have that player that could make that impact like Kante did. He made that one substitution, saw the problem, and it just changed it changed the game, it changed the atmosphere. And the second goal was just typically, and we talk about it and everyone talks about being Spursy, and that was being Spursy because it could have gone in off about 3 or 4 different people and it would have ended up in the net. And we'd have been sat there going, well, we knew it was going to happen. And I think with the fans around me were quite vocal. I don't know what they're like around the rest of you. The ground was empty with about 10 minutes to go, especially when that third goal went in. It just kind of emptied.
Me and Gazza were just staring at Levy, calling him a cunt, basically.
And it was just
you're making.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and and I think that everyone is there and everyone's behind the team, but it's just we just know that something's going to happen. It's just going to, someone's going to get sent off or someone's going to do something, or we're going to lose 2 or 3 quick goals. If it wasn't for the saves that Hugo made, it could have been 6, 7, 8, and then that worries me for what's coming next, because how do you replace Hugo, So if they haven't got that mentality now, and, you like to think that they would, like you said, Højbjerg didn't even, out of all of them, you'd have thought he'd be the one saying, guys, what the hell are we doing, Do you
know the one man that did come on and got stuck in? Skip was everywhere, wasn't he, when he came on? Yeah.
That's what you need. But you need it everywhere. You can't just rely on one player to do it. You need fighters. Ultimately, let's put it this way: if it was reversed, let's say, for instance, we were at Stamford Bridge and Chelsea were 2-0 down to us. There are players all throughout that squad that would fight and fight until that last whistle. They might lose, they might concede another goal, but they would fight. There are no fighters, or there weren't any fighters on the pitch for us really on Sunday. There are one or two in the squad that you think might, but it's not consistent.
I don't think they're all damaged, but if you think there's a young team we had out, we had Romero, Reguilon, Royale, Brian Hill was on at that stage when he skipped. So I don't think they're all tainted by that brush yet. But
they're not yet, but they'll start to take their attitude from those that have been there before. Again, it's a workplace. Being a professional footballer is a job. Spurs is a workplace for them. It's not. It might have other things that make it slightly special, but it's still a workplace. They're still paid to do a job. And, all it takes is a winks to say, oh, it's Chelsea, we're going to lose again. It just takes a cane to say, I don't want to be here, and that spreads. And negativity spreads a lot easier than positivity does. And we know this. It's basic human psychology. This is not, we're not talking about anything particularly special. They're human beings ultimately, and they will be subject to the same weaknesses that all humans will be.
I did find it funny how everyone was going on about Tuchel and this tactical masterclass. It doesn't take a tactical masterclass to go, I've got the best defensive midfielder in the world sat on my bench here. I'm going to put him on in midfield. And everyone says how he outwitted Nuno, but Nuno
didn't have any choice.
Yeah, Nuno had nothing. He looked around. He's like, "What can I do? Put Skip on to give himself a bit of energy, a bit of battle in the middle there." Yeah. Brian Hill on, bit of raw talent to try and do something, but he couldn't look round and bring on Paul Gascoigne, Jurgen Klinsmann, and it's a bit. I don't think it's fair.
And that's Levy's failing. That's Levy's failing. When you make a substitution in a match, you hope that the overall strength of your team that you've got on the pitch will be around the same when you make a sub. You might sacrifice one part for another, but overall you want the strength to remain the same. Our strength, the strength of the 11 on the pitch, came down when he made those substitutions because we've got no strength in depth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I used to like Lamella, because he could always come off the bench and raise the tempo of the team, couldn't he? From his pressing, his tempo. Yeah. Cody makes a point there that Pep didn't make any change at half time like Tuchel did though. We've discussed Pep before. Yeah. Cody, we're not fans of his. Anyway, so yeah. But it doesn't take a tactical masterclass, though, does it? A genius, Cody, to go. We're getting overrun in midfield. I'm going to put on the best defensive midfielder in the world. Who sat on my bench here? He had options. He could change his shape. He could change his personnel, couldn't he, to affect the game? And we didn't really, did we? Kev, what did you make of the second half's capitulation? Did you see it coming?
I was at half time. I said, you know what? I'll be happy if we come away with this with a draw. I would be over the moon. But I didn't expect to fold like a cheap suit, as I call it. It was kamikaze stuff. All right, the deflection, but we've got this defeatist thing going on now. We're like whipped dogs, I don't know, the finals we've lost, the semi-finals we've lost, the games we've led and lost. We've got the best fans, one of the best sets of fans in the country. They'll go to watch them anywhere, all around Europe, all around the world, night, evenings, weekends. They'll spend fortune supporting them. The fans deserve better. They get humiliated, and I feel for them because other teams laugh at them. Look at your team; they're a load of rubbish and all that. And we want our team to be.
We've undoubtedly got the best fans, haven't we? I was thinking this the other day. I mean, if you look at Man City, they're winning everything, sweeping everyone away. £1 billion or £2 billion, Res in the talent squad, and playing great football. Yet they still can't fill their stadium. And there's us who haven't won anything for God knows how long. Still selling out.
Pack it out week in, week in.
Away trips, great atmosphere. So many fans around the world. Look, people like Cody and Will watching tonight and stuff. And
I told you guys in the WhatsApp group, I applied for tickets to Wolves, and I couldn't get it. Obviously, I'm a new season ticket, but the points required are so high because we've got really loyal fans.
Yeah,
they're always there. They're always backing this team. We might be a bit demanding, but we're always there, and this is how we're being repaid.
We might not be best at a lot of things, but we're the best fans, I think, aren't we? For sure. I mean, you get Arsenal and Chelsea fans criticising us for not winning things all the time, but I always say to them, what shows how we're not fair weather fans, are we? We still turn up week in, week out. We used to say to our friend Brian, who's a Man United fan, Gazza said to him once, how is it fun supporting Man United? Every week you turn up expecting to win. We don't know if we're going to lose to the bottom team or beat the top team. So that's the joy of being a Tottenham fan. You turn up every week and you get upset if you don't win. If you win 16 games and lose the 17th one, you're upset. But we've got no idea what's going to happen when we turn up to Tottenham.
Never.
Nah. It's a lottery, isn't it? Completely. We can beat the top team or lose to the bottom team. Where's the fun in being a Man United or a Man City fan? I just expecting to win every week and guessing how many goals it's going to be by. Fuck them.
We had the last game this weekend, didn't we? So it's not going to be an early disappointment, put it that way. But we'll come on to that in a minute. But
form but goes out the window, don't it? With the Arsenal game.
Yeah, with Arsenal, yeah.
There's so many times over the last few years where I've been so confident going into that game because the way we're playing with Dembele, obviously, and Vic Wanyama, just solid all over the park, and we still turned up, and it's film book just goes completely out the window, doesn't it?
The one that sticks in my mind, I think it was 5-2, and we were like 2-0 up at half time, and we were cruising. It was like it wasn't even close. They couldn't lay a glove on us, and then after half time, it just thing. And I was with my mate Barry, rest in peace, watching that game. In a pub in Epping, I think it was, and we were so happy at the time. We were just, it was so good just to be able to sort of run. There were some Arsenal fans at the next table, and we were taking the piss a little bit, but there was always that, don't take the piss too much because it can all go wrong. And early. It did.
Yeah. After that Man United, when we're 3-0 up against Man United, we don't send out texts, we don't send out banter down, do we? None of us.
No.
It's too early. Even if we're 5-0 up in the 89th minute, it's too early. It's too early.
Tempting fate every time.
Floodlights will go off or something, and the game will be around.
I tempted. I did it. It was my fault last night, guys. By the way, my sister, she put my nephew to bed, and she said, "How are we getting on?" I said, "We're playing beautifully. We're 2-0 up." She said, "Have you got a link for the game?" So I said, "Yep." Sent her the link and said, "Yeah, we're playing beautifully. 2-1." 2-all. She said, "I thought you said we were playing beautifully." I was like, "Yeah."
Well, it's a bit like me. I said, what did I say? Who is this team?
Yeah. Who is this team that's turned up? Oh, there they are.
Hang on a minute. Here we are. They're back. What was it? Something like that, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. It was just. It was like you say. We can't think. We can't think. Yeah. Who the hell was this team?
That did change under Pochettino.
Yeah. It was who the hell is this team that's turned up tonight? And it's the same team. My mistake.
Yeah.
In the case of an hour. So we need to be careful what we say.
Let's as we've just touched on. Let's talk about the Wolves game last night because it was a quick turnaround. We were disappointed after the emotions of the Chelsea game with Jimmy Greaves and everything, and our performance in the second half did all right. Like Rez said, 20 minutes in the first half, we showed intent at least, didn't we? We gave it a go, and we had an attacking lineup, and it was obviously a quick turnaround of games again. So on to the Wolves game last night. First half, Kev, I thought we were, as I said to my sister, I thought we were playing beautifully, knocking the ball around. Skip, I thought, was dominating that midfield. Tanguy was pulling the strings, wasn't he? Kane looked up for it.
Well, I said during the we're having dialogue on the WhatsApp, and I said we could have had 5 or 6 in the first half. Should quite easily. Could have. It was one of them days. But if you didn't mind, if we keep playing like this, we are going to get 6. Yeah. Little did we know. Yeah,
someone's going to get hiding from us, aren't they? Seeing the way if we carry on playing like we did last night, or the chances we created. Yeah,
there's something there. There is something there. There's a spark there for last night.
If you imagine Gil, Son, and Kane up top with Ndombele and Skip playing like they did last night, Højbjerg to come back in. It's got the makings of a team there, isn't it?
Skip's got an old head on his shoulders there, isn't he?
Yeah. Skip, as we being available.
As we said on the WhatsApp group, Kev, Skip, I thought was brilliant last night. Just the way he was everywhere, wasn't he? Like he had that turn of pace to charge into the tackles and closing people down, robbing them of the ball, little interceptions and tackles. His passing was sublime when he hit some couple of 30, 40-yard passes out to the fullbacks there to feet, some great passes. That's a good tackle on Adama Traore doing the rounds today on Twitter when he came back and smashed him and came away with the ball. I think he was.
He can mix it up a little bit, can't he?
Yeah,
when he wants to.
I think that could have been. I think that could have been the making of him last night. I think Jens put on Twitter, didn't he, that could this be the making of Ndombele? But I think it could have been the making of Skip last night. It was probably the first game he'd dominated the midfield of against the Premiership opposition, wasn't it, really?
Well, see, I'd be tempted if Lloris, I'd be tempted. I'm not saying we should necessarily, but if he continues his development this season, I'd be tempted if Lloris does go to make him captain next season. I know he's young.
Mourinho famously said, and he'll be a future Tottenham captain. He rated him that highly.
And
I know he's young, but Beckham did it for England.
Yeah, and he's done what a lot of the players haven't done and won something
Yeah.
So
and he's not. He seems to be really self-contained mentally. This is the thing. It's a case of is he going to suffer the same thing that all the other new players seem to suffer when they come to Spurs, becoming soft in the centre, or is he going to be able to maintain his steel? Because there's steel there. That's the thing. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his play. You can see it in his attitude. It's what Højbjerg was like last season.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's gone away, and he's used that loan spell, and he's left as a boy and come back as a man. I mean, you see the difference from when he was, even just watching, there was a video they put out, and it, just seeing him a couple of seasons ago to now, it's like a different person completely. And that, that loan spell's done him a world of good.
So that's one. If we look at it, that's one positive of Kante not getting the job, because it would have probably got in the way of Skip's development, wouldn't it? He wouldn't have played with it. He'd have brought in someone like a Kante or a big centre midfield player, an established player, and Skip wouldn't have had the opportunities that he's getting now. So I guess we have to give credit to Daniel Levy, don't we, for blocking Kante.
At what point do Man City and United start come knocking on the door for Skip? Then that's what you have to think about.
Yeah.
A couple of years.
They can take wings.
Yeah. So
that's what you got to think.
Called Harry Winks, you can have if you want.
Yeah, I think just on that. Leave. No, but I just think on that is that Skip has also seen that, Winks had an opportunity. He started well, and then just went,
regressed. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that he's learned from that as well, and he's got the opportunity. He's got the, he's actually sitting there and saying, well, I don't care. There's all these other players on the pitch, and we're still not seeing what we should be seeing from Dele Alli. And
I was just going to say he responded. He got left out, didn't he? Skip a couple of times, the last couple of games, the Chelsea game, and so he responded by coming on and battling his arse off, didn't he? When he came on to make an impact, and he took his chance again last night, coming back into the team. So he's shown a good mentality to. And unlike Dele and Winks last year, when they got left out, they sulked, didn't they? And Skip looks to be made of stern stuff. He's come back in and tried to win his shirt back. He's obviously thought, right, I've lost out against Chelsea here. I'm going to make sure I'm undroppable for the next game.
We need that attitude all over the pitch. Every single player's got to be like that. And we might criticise him. The one thing that you can give Harry Winks credit for is that he did say he wanted to fight for the shirt. I still wouldn't put him in the team, but that attitude is what every single Spurs player should have. When they pull it on, Kane right now, he knows if he's fit, he's going to pull on the shirt. Sonny knows that if he's fit, he's going to be pulling on the shirt on a Saturday, right? There's not enough competition.
Top pros.
Depth. Yeah, obviously.
They all say top pros. They do it day and day. Roy Keane always says you can't have one good game and then you think you made it. You've got a reputation you built in that one game. So you have 2 good games, you have 3 good games, you have 4 good games. You build on it. You don't rest on your laurels and go, I've had a few games. I've made it here. The real top players, they they have something to prove every game, and they want to build on it and build on it and get better and prove to everyone. Like, it's an opportunity every game, isn't it, to show what you can do. Some players go into their shell a little bit. They think when they're established with Dele and his off-field activity. Let's talk about Dele Alli, because last night I thought against Palace he had a really good game. Obviously, as good as you can have in a 3-0 defeat, but against Chelsea and last night I thought he was really poor. Everything he was trying wasn't coming off. I guess he set up the second goal last night, didn't he? But I thought he was poor overall last night. What did you guys think of Dele Alli, Kev?
Great through ball for Harry Kane's goal. I mean, I can't knock that. It was 30 yards, something like that. Split the defence,
first time,
straight on it, bang. Yeah. But he was Flicky Alley. He's back to Flicky Alley. He was like doing them silly little dinky little things he was doing, and they never seem to come off with him. I don't know. I think the percentage of them getting right, not good. But he surprises me sometimes. Why?
He's working hard enough, isn't he? But has he got the quality anymore?
I'll give him a few more games yet before I write him off. I think there could be something there. If he can get back to that, especially with what we've got up front now, if we've got the likes of Gil, Son, Kane, and he's thereabouts, it's an incredible attack.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kev. I think, like you were saying earlier, LJ, I think we just need to go and batter someone 5 or 6-0. And for someone like, Bergwijn, Dele to get a goal and have a good game, for them to just think, oh, Christ, I can do it. Do you know what I mean? Because, again, I think it's confidence. And I think the moment that Dele tries something and it doesn't work, his arms are going up, the crowd are groaning. And I think that, again, that doesn't really help.
Fear. So, it's like Rez was saying.
Again. Like Rez was saying, it's the fear. It's
fear
of,
factor, isn't it?
I can't do this, I'm going to make a mistake. Or I can't do that, I'm going to make a mistake. And and then they make the mistake anyway. So
Dele's playing with fear at the moment, isn't he? He's second guessing everything. He's second guessing everything.
See, this is why I was so keen on Graham Potter in the summer, because Potter has got a master's in emotional intelligence and leadership, and that's what this club needs, along with other things as well. They need someone to teach them about leadership, and Dele's an exemplar of what the problems are, because he's got that thin skin. So, that volatility hasn't gone away. It's still in there. He might be controlling it better, but it might be being channeled differently. And so when something goes wrong for him, everything, the weight of the world descends on his shoulders seemingly, and he becomes fragile. And for all the good play that we saw against Wolves, we still saw weakness. We still saw fragility. We still saw, there was at one point, I think in the WhatsApp group, I was saying that we'd lost all semblance of shape around the Wolves goal. It was like discipline had gone, because again, it's that desperation. When you meet someone and they're desperate to be liked, and they're desperate to be friendly, and they're desperate for people to think. That's what the Spurs squad is like right now. They're desperate. They've had so many disappointments. They've gone through so many managerial changes. They're still reeling from that final. It was like another example. We got to a final and lost again. There was a point where Spurs had played in something like 9 FA Cup finals, or 9 FA Cup finals, only lost 1. We'd won every final we'd appeared in. Now we lose every final we appear in. It's almost written in the stars. There's desperation there. We need a psychologist, a psychological manager to go in there and start instilling what Skip seems to have naturally in the rest of the squad.
Yeah. It's worrying times for Dele, isn't it? I can't see Nuno changing it too much. I think he'll play in the 3-man midfield at Arsenal, but patience surely will be wearing thin. I mean, he's working hard enough for the team, which managers like, don't they? Say you can't ask for a lot more than that. It gives you a good, solid grounding in the game.
Speaking of that, there's a Jimmy Greaves story I want to share as well, if you don't mind. I know we're off topic. So apparently, what Bill Nicholson used to do would be after a game, he would go around and rub the players' shirts to see how hard they'd worked, to basically see how sweaty they were. And he would always rub Greaves' shirt last to dry his hands.
I always liked Cliff Jones's quote there. A pat on the back from Bill was only, and Bill Nicholson said it's only a couple of feet away from a kick up the arse, isn't it? A pat on the back is only a couple of feet away from a kick up the arse. Greaves' chat, dearie me. So last night, I think Gill let's talk about Brian Gill, because I think he again. We'll start with you, Kev. What did you make of Brian Hill last night? Hill.
You used that word sublime earlier. Yeah, I think you can put that down to his performance last night. He's some prospect now, I think. He's still lightweight. Get some muscles on him. But the
keeps
skill,
trying, doesn't he?
And the skill and the vision. You know, I think we played slightly out of position last night. A lot of the time. But he's got a sweep left foot. One ball he took down. Well, he didn't take it down. He sort of caught it, but passed it in the same
First
movement.
time, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
looking at that one as well.
It's like a volley pass. You know, I looked at it. I went, "What did I?" Yeah, that was brilliant. You know, because the vision and the capability to do it. You know, that was like you can't teach that. That's inherent.
What impressed me most, Kev, was the way he kept he kept coming, didn't he? He kept getting fouled and just getting up and going out again. It reminded me of when I first saw Ronaldo. He got the same treatment. Then he was getting teams would just try and kick him out of the game, but he'd be like, "Get up and give me the ball again, and I'll teach you a lesson. I'm going to make you look like a mug for fouling me," kind of thing. He seems to have that kind of mentality to him.
I was disappointed when that shot he had didn't get in, because the keeper was so bloody tall. He left a trailing leg, and he placed it perfectly apart. If that keeper was 3 inches shorter, that'd been a goal. Unfortunately, that's the way it worked. You know,
he made some good saves, John Ruddy. That Kane header as
Ruddy,
well.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be the hero of the night. I really did. You know, I really thought they're going to read about this tomorrow. You know, because I thought it was written in the stars that it was just going to stop everything we fired at him. Not, you know,
keepers always have worldies against us, don't they? There was that Tim Krul. Do you remember Tim Krul's performance for Newcastle a couple of seasons back? It was like it was like a siege, and it's just one man just keeping out every single thing that was coming his way. It was ridiculous.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? Unbelievable. Let's come around the panel then. Rez, what did you make of Brian Hill last night?
He's really exciting. It's nice to see a player that's going to get us off our seats. I know it's a cliche to say that, but he looks a good prospect. He does look a good prospect. You know, if we really wanted to play full-blooded attacking football, he'd slot straight in. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Or he will be. So yeah.
He's going to be inconsistent at his age, isn't he? But he's worth sticking by, isn't he? I think definitely. Absolutely. Like we said,
more game time, lots and lots of game time to help develop his game. You know,
like we said on the show before, it's similar to Aaron Lennon, isn't it? Where he took the opportunity when Routledge got injured, and then Stevie and Lucas have gone out, and he's got his opportunity early. Then, and obviously intended they were going to bring him in slowly, but it's up to him to take it now, and I think he's got the right mentality. But look at it, Nick. Some thoughts on Hill?
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, when I went to the qualifying game, Europa Conference League game. You know, he was brilliant that night, and I think it's just the more he plays. I agree with Kev. He needs to put on a bit of bulk, not so much as in Traore does at Wolves, but with the baby oil and all of that and the dreadlocks. But
to be fair, it hasn't affected his pace, has it, Traore, with the bulk? Usually, when players put muscle on, it slows them down a bit.
Surely there's a law to prevent you from attaching 2 tree trunks to your torso. Have you seen me? He can't even put his arms by his side. He's like this. It looks like he's carrying 2 pigs under his arms. Sorry, carry on.
But I think that's all right. But I think what and obviously addressing Rez's point where they leave their seats. They only leave the seats in the West Stand to go to the toilet or leave the game, don't they? They don't get up at any other point.
It's true. No, but I mean, at my little corner, it wasn't bad. But there was a point where I was booing Alonso, and a couple of the people in front of me turned around and gave me odd glances. It's like, I'm sorry, did I hurt your sensibilities by booing the opposition?
But no, I think what we're missing is that spine that we had with Dembele. And if you almost put Skip there, then you got Hill onto Son or Kane, and then you've got Romero. I would put in there as the kind of to build that spine, and that's obviously what we're trying to do. And I think, Romero again looking comfortable on the ball as well as Hill, and I think that's what we need. That we need that spine of players that are going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, but they do it all together. And once there's that spine there, that a lot of the other teams have that we don't have because we keep either people are getting injured or again we need to think about it. We go back to the international break, we go back to the injuries, we go back to Tanganga getting sent off. And, Cody Mack put about Tanganga being a fighter. 100% he has to play on Sunday. 100%. Because actually what he did by getting sent off was more naivety and youthfulness. But actually what he did to square up to Zaha and tell him to basically sit down is exactly what, and you saw the fight that then everyone came around him. So I think, kind of going a little bit off topic, but I think Hill just needs that game time and just needs to find his place and take that opportunity, like you said, LJ, because
it's worth investing the patience in him, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think he can create stuff and create special stuff, not just it's luck or
what I like about him is his decision making for a youngster. He's not doing, like we said about Dele Alli, the flicks and the tricks and trying to show off. He's actually doing positive things for the team, isn't he? He's passing and he's not taking people on unnecessarily. He's taking them on to beat them and then create space and then passing it to a teammate, isn't he? He's not like an individual trick pony.
Vision. He's got vision.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Even at that young age, he can see the game ahead of him.
Super Tash.
Yeah.
Tash-tastic, as I said when he scored his penalty. Tash-tastic.
Just got to go.
Kev, Romero, I thought, I think Galini said in the press today, didn't he, that he's used to playing in a three-man central defence in Italy where he can be more aggressive and go and attack people and hunt people down. He's having to learn that in a two-man defence he can't always go charging off, but he said that, I think he described him as a beast, and he also, I think the word similar to that, said he's a beast and he's made for the Premier League. What do you think of Romero last night, Kev?
I think he'll improve. He's still finding out his surroundings, and it's transient. The whole defence is transient at the moment. Wing backs changing, partners changing. Sanchez, Dyer. It's a movable thing at the moment. It needs to settle quickly, I think. But yeah, there's a few moments in there last night. I thought, he could be the one. He really could, because I don't think he takes no shit either. I think he's one of them.
Argentinian in a year.
Yeah.
He's not going to think. No. He's not a softie.
No. Rez, what did you make of Romero last night?
Yeah, it was reassuring. It was interesting to see a central defender that was quite so attack-minded for us. Especially after last season, where the defence was basically told to sit back and stay there. I am interested to see what his real talent on the ball is, because if we can, what you look for your ball playing central defender and your sort of blocker, and I think he can be that ball playing central defender, but I'm not sure who the blocker is out of our current candidates. Maybe Dyer. It would also be interesting to see Dyer, Romero, and Sanchez play in a back three.
It's a good three, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
it's a good blend. That's a good blend.
So I've got, again, hopeful for him as an individual player, and let's see what else he can do.
Speaking of hope for individual players, we'll come to you first, Nick, on this one. Tanga and Dembele last night. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, so again, it seems to be the more he's playing, the more we seem to be seeing glimpses of what we're
playing. Yeah.
And I think I think, like you said, he got through. We were surprised when he started on Sunday because obviously he played 70 odd minutes during the week. he's obviously played the full game last night. So I don't, I think he will start on, he's done enough to start on Sunday, and I think he's actually done what Aurier didn't do, and has maybe taken it on the chin a little bit. And because we got rid of Aurier and we've lost that kind of poison, and we've lost that, that the three of them together, with Big Mo going as well, I think he's turned around and gone, oh, where are all my mates? They've all disappeared. I've either got to, maybe what they were saying was true, because I'm sure they were probably in his ear going, wow, this is the media, this is what they're saying, this isn't true, don't believe it, go and get another KFC or whatever, or let's go down to KFC or get Deliveroo or have you, other delivery food outlets are available. I think that, if we can see, it's definitely a special. I mean, you look at that back hill the other week, and there's definitely a spark there, and there's definitely something that's there. I'm not too sure about his hairdo, but but I think there's definitely something there, and I think that I'm from where we were probably 3 or 4 or 6 weeks ago. We're a hell of a lot further forward with where he is and kind of the effort and the attitude. And actually, he was one that was okay. He still did, last night, made the mistake and cost the goal and everything else. But he at least is trying, and he's trying to change the game, and he's trying to get hold of the ball, and he's trying to do stuff, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I remember thinking to myself last night, he makes you enjoy watching football, and that's a testament I can pay to Tanguy and Ndombele. Actually, last night I remember thinking, I just like watching this guy play football. I want him to get on the ball. When you watch the whole pitch and you're just like, where's Tanguy? Give him the ball. I want to see what he's going to do next. He makes you enjoy it. Yeah, he makes you enjoy watching football.
But that's the thing. I reckon he's got the potential. He will either end up being one of the top superstars of football, or he will be turned into probably the most frustrating footballer in history. I said it at the game to the people sat next to me. He's amazing. He's got stardust in his feet. But if he doesn't apply himself, if he doesn't want to do it every game, he's not going to fulfill that potential. He did all right on yesterday. He did all right on Sunday. It's got to be every game. It's got to be more than all right. It's got to be, you have got to be there every game, 90 minutes.
He danced his way through that first goal. Well, his goal, he just danced. It was watching. It was just like watching. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. The way he had that close ball control. Bang, gone, go. I think let's see some more of that, please. I'd like that.
He does things with the ball that not many players can do, and if you think he's playing against professional footballers as well, he comes out with some things that Messi does. Messi's the only other player that does those kind of things where you sort of double take, and you're like, did he just do what I think he did? Like that chop inside the other day against, was it Palace or Chelsea, when he chopped inside? It might have been, was it Palace, Rez? When he did the chop inside,
He did that, exactly. Just to basically zoom past on the left flank. It was amazing, and he can do that. He can do that without even thinking. It seems. Just work hard, Tanguy. You can be one of the most famous footballers in the world. Do it. It's worth it.
That must be that one you're talking about, the Palace move. I think that's when the home crowd sort of all went whoa, because they saw it as well. It was like you could say, the whole stadium went wow. It was one of them.
When the keeper came out and smothered him, wasn't it, Kev? It was just instinctively chopped inside the guy, and it came inside him rather than go the outside, and he was through on goal, and the goalie came out and smothered it. I was thinking, did he just chop inside the player there? He did. He just does things like that every game, doesn't he? He's like, I think who was it? Mbappe or someone said the other day he put up a highlights package of one of the games, and he said another highlights package, Tanguy or something like that. Mbappe had commented on his Instagram, and so he's obviously got a reputation for it in the French squad, and that's a player like Mbappe saying that, So the French boys obviously rate him highly. Mourinho,
do it, Tanguy. Do it. It's worth it, mate. It's worth it. It might seem like hard work now, but believe me, believe me. You can be a god. Do it.
Mourinho's picked on him a little bit because we've discussed before, because he always picks on the talented players, because Mourinho says he himself wasn't that talented, so he just wants them to apply themselves, because it frustrates him that when they've got that natural ability that they're going to waste it. He gets worried that they're going to waste it, but he kind of picked on him a bit. So maybe Nuno's going to just give him the game time and let him find himself that way. So he kind of diffused the questions after the game last night, where I think Alistair Gold had said about Tanguy being at fault for both the goals, and he had a go at Alistair Gold, and he said, "Don't be picking on the negative aspects of Tanguy's game last night, pick on the positive things." So maybe Nuno's going down that route with him, just going to give him his head. He's going to play him, give him the game time, and let him find himself, hopefully. Because
he learns from it. Yeah.
There'll be nothing better than on Sunday, will there? Like if he rinses some Arsenal players with some of his moves and stuff. Kev, what did you think of Tanguy last night?
Brilliant. Yeah. I was a bit worried. I thought he'd be a bit fearsome. I don't mean fierce. I mean fearsome. I think he'd be a bit
fearful.
Fearful. Is that the word? Yeah. I'm just tangling my words tonight. Sorry. I had a bang on the hedge again yesterday. Yeah, he came out with an attitude, and it showed. And he's got a bit of grit with him, I tell you. But he's a unit as well, though, isn't he? Let's face it. That fella bounced off him. He knew exactly what he was doing. I can't think. Was it? I can't think of the fella's name now. The fella just bounced straight off him. He was down for quite a while, wasn't he?
Oh yes, in the corner. Yeah.
Can't think. Was De Silva? Was it De Silva? No.
Aït-Nouri?
I can't think it was.
I know Aït-Nouri was up against Tanganga, wasn't it? Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but he just bounced off him. He came off injured in the end, didn't he? Because I thought it was De Silva.
That was Aït-Nouri, I think, and that was against Tanganga. It wasn't against Tongi. I think.
No, I thought we were talking about. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Tanganga.
Yeah, Tanganga.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought we'd moved to Tanganga. I beg your pardon.
We can do. Let's talk about Tanganga. I thought he was exceptional again last night. Yeah.
I thought we'd switch because you already asked me about Ndombele. You see, that's why I thought we'd moved on. So that's why.
Talk about Japhet Tanganga then, Kev.
Well, that's what I just said. It was a unit. It just he's sometimes because of his size, he looks clumsy, but I think once he gets up to speed, it's hard to get around him because he's there. He's a blocker, and he'll take you down. Without
he's ramrods through people, doesn't he?
Yeah, he'll take you down, and he'll just look at you and go, he's kind of gotcha. Yeah, he's got one of them. But
should have scored, shouldn't he, as well?
Would have been nice. Yeah, it would have been.
Twice. There was once where he was on the side of the goal, and then there was one where he ran onto that loose ball and skied it.
Oh, right, that was insanely bad. Yeah.
Kane put
out over the roof
through the channel. Yeah. I didn't realise how near it was until I saw the replay. Yeah, but he has a few times he just railed through people, did he? Like on his overlaps, and once he gets going,
the problem we've got is that he's better. I think he'd be better as a centre back. But
could be.
Who does he replace?
Yeah,
I mean, at the moment, right back where I suppose we're a bit thin on the ground.
I thought you were going to say blessed. We're hardly blessed.
No, we're not. We're not. We're so not blessed. But yeah, he's got the build, the aggression, the style of play as a proper blocker back there. He's tough as nails. He's got that aggression in him. He'd be a great centre back, I think. He's less suited for right back.
He had a great game against Palace, didn't he? That's one thing by him getting sent off. I thought he might go back down the pecking order. So luckily it was just 2 yellows and he only missed the one game. And obviously we were so short of players that he got to play in the Conference
But that's the
League
thing.
game.
If you've got Royale with cheese, to play, what do you do with Japhet? Do you put him in the
you were
centre?
saying about Romero, playing with Sanchez and Dyer, you could it's equally exciting playing Romero with Japhet on the right there, isn't it? And Dyer or Sanchez on the left.
Yeah. I mean, Sanchez played on the left yesterday, didn't he? He played on the left of the pairing yesterday and he was caught out of position a couple of times. So it might be Sanchez that is the sacrifice if you're playing 3 with Romero in the centre and Dyer in the middle, and Dyer on the left.
Sanchez was back to his worst yesterday. It's when he gets involved in a physical battle with players and he forgets about the ball, doesn't he? Which is when he makes the mistakes. He thinks he's going to have to go shoulder to shoulder with someone and batter them off the ball. Completely forgets about the ball and then goes running past both the player and the ball and often leaves the ball in behind, doesn't he? That's when he plays at his worst, when he gets involved in a physical encounter and then he gets waylaid with the physical encounter rather than worrying about the football. If he just worried about the football and cleared the ball, he'd be all right.
Sanchez plays best when he's got time. I mean, most footballers play better when they've got time, but he doesn't seem to be that instinctive player. He's one that thinks about what he's going to do next, and when he doesn't have time, things can go wrong. I think that's the impression I get.
It could be the opposite of that. When he's instinctive, when he just defends without thinking and clears it and heads it, he's all right. But when he's, like I say, when he gets counteracted by getting involved in a little tussle, when he thinks he's got to be physical, when he's up against Traore, he's running towards the ball thinking, I've got to be strong here, rather than thinking, just clear the ball, just nick the ball away, get the ball away. I overthink it sometimes. I overthink it sometimes. Galini last night. What did you make of him, Nick?
Yeah. So again, I think he just needs time. I think if we're all saying that he's going to be the replacement for Hugo, he needs game time. He needs the experience. He needs to be exposed. I mean, obviously he'll be exposed if we carry on playing like we did at the weekend. But I just think he just needs time and needs to get used to it. Obviously, he's got Romero in front of him, I think he's, like I said about when he played in goal on the Thursday in that European game, he looks big and has a presence, which, as much as Hugo's, great shot stopper and a great goalkeeper, he's not massive, is he? So
he's like Dalsim from Street Fighter 2, and he's got those massive arms. It's like last night when he was doing the penalties, his long arms were hanging down there, weren't they? He looked like a big presence, like Dalsim in goal.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a nice easy one, Roz. I keep calling you Roz because your bloody name on the screen.
That's all right.
That's me off here. you bloody whore from Game of Thrones. You and your bloody whore.
Just for the watching audience, basically, yesterday, Jens sent a text in our WhatsApp group where he called John Jin. And so I called Jens Yuns, and then Kev we called Cav. And so I thought that we should keep going down this route, and all of us have our incorrect names. So I chose Roz. Gaza, if he turns up, would be Goz. We got Jin over there. Queeve now apparently, and we just need to one for Nick. Neck, knock, nuck, something like that.
Speaking of Jin, what's up? Has anyone seen Ginty recently? He seems to have disappeared off the planet, hasn't he? Our Scottish fan Ginty. Has anyone seen him? Would you like to put in the comments? Hope he's all right up in Scotland there, in his battered Mars bars and drinking Iron Brew and what other things Scottish people do. Getting cold.
Iron Brew is the nectar of the gods, or it was before they started adding sweetener to it.
Buckfast.
Oh yeah. Buckfast and heroin.
I've got a lot of friends.
Staple diet.
I've got a lot of friends up in Edinburgh. So I used to before the lockdown, I used to go up there and visit, and I had my 40th birthday up there, and one night. During that sort of weekend, we ordered what we thought would have been quite a small takeaway each. Oh my God. For something like £8, we got chicken pakora, pizza, kebab, chips, nuggets, and it came in this, 11-inch pizza box. For 9 quid, 8 quid, 9 quid, something like that. It was I couldn't finish it. I couldn't actually finish it. It was so huge. And that was a small. They also had a large portion size. And you wonder why there's so much heart disease up there.
Absolutely, yeah. That's probably why they're struggling with COVID, isn't it? And Jimmy Cranky doesn't want to let anyone into the country.
They do that over here as well. They do a lot of in Dublin and places like that. They call it 5 in 1. There's 5 different meals in the one box.
5 in
Crazy.
1.
Yeah. You know, Chinese, kebab, you name it, it's all in there. Yeah. In the one, 5 in 1.
Deary me. Corey Mack. It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? Corey
That
Mack.
was a good joke, Bub.
Corey Mack.
Corey.
What's that, Rez?
I said Bub Spur just made a really
Bub
good joke.
Spur, yeah. Bubby. My bubby. So, yeah, nice easy one for you then, Kev. Ben Davis. What did you think of him last night?
Needs to be a sub. Needs to be a sub to keep him as a utility man, and hope you don't need to bring him on. I think, at the moment, I love his attitude and wants to be there, but just when he is there, it's when I worry. That's
a lot that doesn't want him to be there. Rez, go on, and you have your say.
It's the same. I'm the
you
same.
and Alex are the two people that love Ben Davis in the world.
He's a useful player to have in the squad. All right. If you lose your left back, you've got a replacement. If you lose your centre back, you've got someone who can come on for him. And he works hard. He's always committed, right? There's never a time where I've looked at him and I thought, can you wake up a little bit, please? He always puts in the effort.
I think that
No, not in terms of thing. I'm talking about in terms of being part of the match, you know? He always tries, always gives his best, and that's a really useful player to have. He's like Stefan Freund. Stefan Freund wasn't any great shakes, but he gave his all in every match. So it's always useful to have that kind of player. And in terms of the dead wood, in terms of the players that aren't quite up to ability, he would be the one that I would ship out last because he's a utility player and he always tries. I wouldn't start him in any games, but I would have him in the squad.
So we've got two anti Ben Davis, me and Kev, and one pro Ben Davis in Rez. Nick, what do you make of Ben Davis's performance last night? That's restricted to that, first of all. You're on mute, mate. Ben Davis has rendered you speechless, hasn't he?
He's rendered me speechless. Well, he rendered you speechless when I suggested that he was going to play on Sunday.
Oh, mate. Nick put in our group, we were doing predicted lineups, and you had Ben Davis in your starting lineup. I was like, fuck off, Nick. Really?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It depends what we need to try and find what sort of team should join Mason as youth coach. So I don't know. I think he's coming to the end. He will be good when something happens to Reggie. Hopefully,
nothing. To have a testimonial like Alex, do you?
But no. I mean, look, he's just lost all pace. He's just getting old.
Did he ever have pace?
Well, a little bit. He used to go around people and bomb up that left wing, but I can't remember when. Probably that season that was my favourite season. That was 6 years ago. So it was a while ago. But I think he's just one of the players that we've got. He's and that's it really. He's nothing to write home about.
He actually played all right last night for him.
But he did play all right.
Really bring anything to the table, does he?
No.
Let's give Kev a nice easy one for you then. Harry Kane last night. What did you make of Harry's performance? Did you think he was back on it?
He wasn't running in glue like he has been, so I think the fitness levels probably got a little bit better. But I don't know why it was gone wrong in the first place. Body language was a lot better. I think he's getting back there. And there's quotes been on Twitter and in various other agencies today, and he's saying the right thing. He's saying what we want to hear, whether that's the truth or he's just covering up. I hope it's the truth, because obviously we're on a momentum. All right, we lost 2 games. We lost Palace, we lost Chelsea, but this was an ideal chance to, as he said, he said it himself, it's nice to win on penalty shootout. That was his wording in one of the quotes I saw today. It's nice to win a penalty shootout. I thought, because we don't hardly ever win any at all, but his attitude now seems to be he's knuckling down, and I'm here for whatever the duration for this season. Maybe I can't see him going mid-season. I can't see him jumping out in the January transfer window. I don't think it'll happen. It might do next year. I don't know.
Interesting that Nuno gave him the captain's armband last night. Yep.
But he scored that goal, and he wasn't near the home. It wasn't near our supporters, but it was a good reaction. But it was subdued. But he didn't want to upset the fans that were near him, which were Wolves supporters. So it was kind of
I think he did want to upset him, because he I had the stream.
I saw the old fingers going up and that, in the crowd behind.
The stream I had, Kev, didn't have any commentary, and they were singing their stupid songs about him again. So I think if you notice on his social media today, he put up a picture of that of him celebrating in front of them or giving him that. So I think he was a bit of a have that Wolves to the Wolves fans last night. So good to see him get that little bit of devilry.
You could see it in his face. You could see it in his face. It was like, there you go, fuck you.
They were singing those disgusting songs about he spits when he talks and all that crap. So
I didn't hear any of that.
Songs,
it's perfect timing for Sunday's game, I think, because he's always up for the Arsenal game.
Yeah,
because
all-time leading scorer in the North London derby.
Fancy chances.
Rez,
what did you make of Harry last night?
He's a lot better than we've seen from him recently. He seems to be getting his head back in the game. I think it was just the fallout from the transfer saga that's been affecting him. Whether or not he's justified in feeling that way is not the question. He is feeling that way, I think. But he seems to be getting over it. He really needs to sort of get back into it again. And funnily enough, Ali Gold has been saying that, or he said at the time a few weeks ago, that he thinks that Kane has missed his chance to leave, and that with the likes of Mbappe, Haaland, various other players sort of being available in the summer, who is going to be wanting to pay even then the very, very high price that Levy is going to demand for a 29-year-old, because he'll turn 29 next summer. So I think there is the possibility that he will be with Spurs now for the rest of his career. And I think the sooner he accepts that, whether, I'm not saying he has or he hasn't, but the sooner he accepts that, if that is the case, the better it will be for everyone involved, for him as a player and for us as a club. Because he needs to bring that focus back into what he's best at, which is scoring goals.
Great goal last night. Once he took that first touch, there was never any doubt that he was slotting that away, was there?
Absolutely. It's that example, because under normal circumstances, that's what you would expect from Kane. When he does something like that, it's like, yeah, that's going in. There's been question marks over that recently because he's not been in those positions as much as he used to be.
You could see his hunger had returned with that header as well towards the end of the game. He was pissed off when that the guy had got to. He was like saying, "How the fuck have you saved that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I don't remember him dropping as deep as he has been either last night, which is another good sign, I think, because I think part of our problems has been that he's dropping deep, and I think a lot of players say, "Well, Harry's there; he'll create something." Given the assists that he did last season, and so I think
the first 3 games of the season they didn't have that, did they? So they stood
exactly.
up themselves.
So they had to do it themselves, and they need to learn themselves. I think we need to move away from the idea of Harry as the creator. We need someone else to take up things. Actually, I was thinking about this, and I don't know if it's the right answer or not. But part of me is thinking it might be interesting with that idea of Kane not dropping deep, actually not having
fire in the street outside you, isn't it?
Sorry,
is that a fire?
It happens.
Is that a fire outside?
No, that's just that's the sign from the shop next to this thing.
Looks like a fire.
No.
It's one of your pyrotechnics, Kev.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The wizard has thrown one of his.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be interesting to see an experiment in which Skip isn't actually the base of the midfield diamond, but Højbjerg actually is, because Skip has got the ability to pass, and I would be interested to see if he could complement Tongi in terms of creativity in that midfield. Once if Kane is permanently vacating that space now, which I hope he is, because he's got to be up front putting them in the net.
Means leaving Dele out there, doesn't it? And Is he going to do that at the moment? He seems to be
we don't
the
know.
patience. Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, he's still got that problem regardless. If it's Skip, PH, Tongi, Delhi, if that's the choice, and Gio, someone's going to lose out anyway. So I would be interested to see whether or not Skip could be more of a creator than a destroyer.
Let's just talk about the penalties before we move on. Clinical, weren't they? Kev, what did you make of those? Especially the young lads, Gil and
they all knew what they were doing. I mentioned in the chat we were having during the game, and I was thinking, oh god, penalties! No, I hope we don't do what they done with Noble on Saturday. I hope they don't bring on Reggie on, and it's going to be his first touch to take a penalty, for Christ's sake. And they got him on with seconds to spare. I thought, oh god, cold feet, whatever you name it, but he was lethal.
So why wasn't he that clinical against Chelsea? And he's through on the goalie, wasn't he? He got caught in 2 minds and he put the weak crossover and didn't shoot. He should have just binned that one in the top corner as well, shouldn't
he? Yeah, but Kane has that down to a finer. You can't get any finer. He's a machine. He just knows exactly. He'll vary where he's putting it, but when he's decided where he's putting it, it's going there.
Yeah,
there's no variation. It's the back stanchion of the goal every time, or nearly every time. Left or right, doesn't really matter. He makes his mind up. It was nice to see.
And Højbjerg missing, that was a turn up for the books, wasn't it? I suppose it's a lottery, isn't it?
Pressure.
I mean, Nuno said afterwards, it's not luck, it's skill. We practice the penalties.
Yeah, but it's nice to win one again. We haven't won that many down the years.
Jay Ashraf says, what did you guys make of the Fonseca interview? He came out with a few comments today. Do you want to bring it up, Rez?
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it either, to be honest. I've been busy all day today, so...
Yeah, Rez is on the case now.
Going back to what Kane was just saying about Kane last night, I thought having Sonny on the pitch created some space for him as well, I think.
Yeah.
Through the middle, where it was, he was occupying defenders that weren't surrounding Kane. He had a bit more freedom of space. And that's
he looked sharp, didn't he?
That
little rest he had. He looked, to be fair, he looked sharp against Chelsea, didn't he? And that little cameo last night, so it's looking good. Positive for him against the Gooners.
Yeah. Sorry to take it off topic.
No. I love this comment last year when he said that before the North London derbies, I have the montage of all the previous games, and Sonny said I noticed that I wasn't on there, so I had to change that, and that's when he scored that worldie last year, didn't he? And he said, "Now I'm on there."
Okay.
Rez, go on.
This has been doing the rounds amongst Spurs fans for a while, actually. This information on here, I think it's an older story that they've sat on until recently. So basically, Paulo Fonseca said that he was essentially going to be appointed Spurs manager, and had already started planning his preseason, and then Paratici got the job as managing director football. And he wanted a less offensive-minded manager, and so torpedoed the deal to bring Fonseca to Spurs. We knew this, or I'd heard this at least a week ago, that this had happened. It's one of the reasons that I have concerns about Paratici as our managing director of football. And what makes me think it was an opportunistic acquisition or hiring by Levy rather than one that was informed by, thinking or choice. Whatever you make of Paulo Fonseca, he is an attack-minded coach, and Nuno's approach for his career hasn't been. What does that tell you about Paratici?
You said it's in the Italian DNA, isn't it? Well, not cautious football, they like pragmatic football, don't they?
Yeah. It's they play. They have defense as a very integral part of their game. It's part of the Italian game.
You need a foundation to build a house. That's the way
it's like.
They look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like why Sarri wasn't didn't seem to fit with Juventus because he's actually quite attack-minded for an Italian coach. And I think that was part of why he just wasn't accepted quite as much, because it was almost like Juventus were playing football that wasn't Italian for them.
Sarri ball.
Yeah, and I think it's worrying that we've got a general manager or managing director who is going to play that way if the objective is to play free-flowing football. It just raises more questions over Daniel Levy and his judgment and his probity and his objectives for the club. If you come around and you say, I want to play attacking football, don't appoint an Italian as your director of football or as your general manager, as your managing director of football. That doesn't square with what you're saying. Don't allow that man. Well, you'd say don't allow that man to appoint a defensive manager. The problem is that he should not be interfering with football matters.
What was the context of the comments though? Because obviously you've seen with Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle, she rejected him on a date, so he's set about denigrating her and destroying her reputation at every single stage after that. So it might be a case of Fonseca trying to rebuild his own reputation by trying to save face a little bit by
potentially, absolutely potentially. I mean, it might be complete bollocks. It might be, right? He might just be lying through his teeth to try and make himself look better. But
to get a job.
The point of the matter is that some of the things that we know about these individuals is not really up for debate, or is there's a likelihood that our director of football is a defensive-minded one, and that's the culture that he will want to instill, even if Daniel Levy has told him that he wants attacking football. We've not seen signs. We've signed one attacking outfield player this summer. We don't have many creative players in our squad. Now, a rebuild takes time, of course, but you start where you mean to proceed. We've got the defense partially sorted. It's not just a case of, right, we're going to get the defense sorted first and then look at everything else if defense isn't going to be a priority.
I think we all agree that was a priority from Jose's days. I mean, he didn't get his centre backs, and the right back needed replacing. Reguilon after starting brightly kind of tailed off in the season. So I don't think we can knock Paratici too much for that. I think we all agreed that sorting the defence out was probably one of the things that needed to be done first. Having said that, we only bought Romero. Obviously, Royale's come in since, hasn't he? But it seems to, for the early indication, the first 3 games of the season, the 3 clean sheets would indicate we'd sorted that out. But 2-3-0 defeats in the league since then would indicate we haven't.
Yeah. So I mean, but again, it's almost, it really is so scattergun. It's so unfocused. Listen, if your entire focus of a transfer window is to sort the defense, fine, go and do it. Not by buying one player, and then when you've bought that player, he doesn't even start a Premier League game for however many games. I think Chelsea was his first start in the league. All right, fine, he's got to get up to speed. Where's the other central defender? Why are we talking about Sanchez and Dyer as the default pairing after those first 3 games if the defense needed sorting? If they're the pairing, we didn't need to sort the defense, so we should have done something else. We haven't done it. It's scattergun. It's incoherent. I'm starting to rant now, and I'm sorry about this. It is getting ridiculous. No strength in depth, no coherency in our recruitment. We've appointed someone that there are question marks. Okay, let's give him time. There are question marks over whether or not he's the right person. Okay, what are you doing, Levy? Go in there and either lay down the law with Paratici and say, right, this is the type of club we are. Do it or you're out. don't interfere with footballing matters and make sure that he's doing his job properly. Don't sit there and wait for him to make a choice about a player and then say, no, I'm not going to get that player. Give him the definitions define his role and let him get on with it. And if he doesn't do the role that you've hired him for, sack him and get someone else. That's the way it works.
That's the issue, the accountability, isn't it? He's got a budget to work, so you should let him bring his own players in and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
I guess they looked at it and they thought between Dele and Ndombele and Lucas Moura, they had enough creative players to play behind Kane with the quick guys on the wings, Sané.
It's the creation in the center of midfield that's the problem. It's not the attacking three that you're looking just to create, because then you've got where's the link between the midfield and the attack. That's where the problem is. Unless you've got these attackers dropping deep, which you don't want. You want them to be attacking. That's the problem.
Like we saw seeds of last night. Maybe Skippy's your man. Maybe Skippy could do that. He hit some great long passes yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to rant about this week, Rez? As you can see on screen.
Anything else you want to rant about?
No, it's all about Levy. It's all about Levy, right? I'm more and more. I'm tired of it. He's really gulling people. This is what really angers me, is that he's got people that will believe it all, will just blindfold themselves and think like the whole carbon neutral game, right? I was talking about this today with someone, and I turned around and I said, look, these corporations, they don't do it because they give shit number one about the environment, or shit number one about racism, or shit number one about, I gave the example of gay pride being sort of plastered. You watch gay pride, they're plastered with corporate sponsors. I'm saying they don't give a shit about LGBTQ issues. They're just shilling. What he's doing with the carbon neutral stuff is just PR. He doesn't give a fuck about that. And some person commented, yeah, but he might not, but I still felt proud that my club was doing this.
Really?
What are you feeling pride over? There's nothing to be proud of. He's shilling you and you're proud of it. Well done. I want a chairman that if he wants to make money, I don't care. If he wants to sell the club, I don't care. The club will still be here. But don't fuck the football side of things in favor of the financial side of things. By all means, be prudent. By all means, look after us. Make sure we don't go under. But there are choices that he could have made and should make that can make us better on the pitch, that can give us a better squad, and he is refusing to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not acceptable.
It's obviously his job, but what's his financial benefit to keep enhancing the value of the club? I suppose he's got shares, hasn't he? Answer my own question.
There's two ways in which if you've got shares in a big company, you can borrow against those, and the interest that you pay is less than tax. Income is taxable, loans are not, or you pay a very small amount of tax on loans. So if you borrow against your stock holdings, you pay less in tax. You can write off the tax, basically. That's one. So the other one is that if the value goes up, they invested 120 million to buy Spurs. The club is worth 2-point-something billion now. That's a pretty decent return when they do eventually sell. Nothing wrong with that. Sell it if you want, make a profit by doing so, but don't do it off the back of our playing ability. Yeah, we're the ones paying. We're the ones paying the debt that you've lumbered Spurs with. Did you ask us before doing it? We're the one in 30 years that's going to be paying the mortgage. So you owe us something. And what he owes us is a functioning squad, a squad that has potential. I'm not asking to win the Champions League every year, just that we've got a chance of being up there. We're the 6th biggest club in the country. We should act like it.
Yes, it's a tricky one. Kev, what do you think? What do you make of Daniel Levy?
I look back to that moment of truth a few years back, 3-4 years ago, and we knew he needed a revamp. And Liverpool were behind us in performance. We were ahead of Liverpool.
6 out of 7 seasons we finished above them, didn't we?
Yeah, and they went out and bought Virgil, Van Dijk, and Alisson, and on the back of that, they won a Champions League and Premier League.
Yeah.
So yeah, I rest my case.
And they've got a similar Moneyball case, the way they run their business is similar to the Moneyball. I think it is the Moneyball, isn't it? You buy the younger players and you sell them for a profit, which seems to be what Levy's doing. But they also realise you've got to invest ready-made players into that squad.
2 massive signings, a lot of money, but it paid off, and it's a blueprint for the future. On that, they're not resting their laurels. They haven't won anything since those two. I'd like to have won those 2 things. We were that close. We were a smidgen close. 2 years on the bounce. They say over those 2 years we were the best team in England. We've got nothing to show for it, But they went out and they did what they had to do. We didn't.
Do you think he's worried? Do you think he's worried about doing the Leeds, or whether generally there isn't that much more money in winning titles?
It doesn't exist anymore.
It's the kudos, isn't it? The kudos and the good feel good factor. And you tell the fans we're going to stick the money up to pay for it. They'll pay for it because they'll have bragging rights, and the press won't be able to have that monkey on their back from all them years of saying Tottenham are losers. They haven't won nothing for 30. They won an FA Cup for 30 years. They haven't won it. They won 1 League Littlewoods or 2 Littlewoods Cup in 30 years. They're a second-rate club trying to be with the big boys. Yeah. We had a chance to stay with the big boys and be in amongst the big boys. We missed that chance. Altogether.
He's probably got penis envy, hasn't he? He doesn't think we could compete with those boys because of their unlimited wealth. So
there is no possibility. There is no possibility of the club doing a Leeds nowadays. There really isn't. Okay, because it comes back to that old friend of ours, wages to turnover ratio. Do you know that Reading a couple of seasons ago they had a wages to turnover ratio of 194%, and they're still in business. Right. So what did for Leeds was they couldn't pay the debt for the players that they purchased, because at that time it was still more lump sum payments. Whereas now, because it's spread, and Levy's actually one of those that has led to that, it's more structured. Exactly. There are so many payment schedules between all the various clubs that the money just keeps spinning around the system. There's not much in terms of injection and outlay anymore. It's all just turning around itself.
Why Derby? Have Derby ended up in such a muddle then?
For whatever reasons, again, I'm not saying it can't happen. Of course it can happen. You can still outspend, outlive your means. That is still a possibility, because ultimately it is still money we're talking about. But the structure is not as unstable as it was before, where if you go out, and we're not talking about spending huge amounts, just up the WTT by 10%. Spend the same as Sheffield United. Sheffield United spent 54% of their wages to turnover ratio. We did 46. Just add 10%. Just add 10%, Daniel. So we can buy a few more players and stop making decisions that make financial sense above footballing sense.
He's got golf clubs to buy, though, hasn't he? He needs the money for that. Yeah. I guess we could go round and round talking about that scumbag forever. So, talking of scum, Sunday, the North London Derby, the first one of the season. Before we go tonight, we need to discuss our predictions for the game. We'll start with you, Kev. You've seen probably more North London derbies than the rest of us.
The rest of us combined.
Yeah.
Probably. First one was 66, but I've seen them all down through the 70s, home and away, you name it, through the 80s, home and away. Not so many since then, hit and miss, but I live every one of them because I've got so many people they've got their lives involved in it. It's everyone's got an Arsenal fan in the family somewhere. It's and they're the ones that give it out when they're on their high and winning their titles and cups and everything. And we're higher than them now, just about, but on past histories we're not, and that's the thing they will never let us forget. But I honestly think we'll win on Sunday. I've got a feeling we'll win. They've got lucky in their last 2 games, I think.
They're not very good, are they?
I noticed they're very lefty orientated in their team this year. They've got a lot of lefties playing. I don't know why. I don't know how many. I was going to count one. I couldn't be bothered when I was watching them the other day. But they have a lot of lefty. I think if someone notices that, we might have a chance of turning them over. Well, I'm hoping we're going to turn them over anyway. Depends on the team. Yeah. Team.
How do you think you'll go? Yeah. How do you think you'll go about a hitters for your team then, Kev?
Hugo. I've got Chaffett, Romero, Dyer, and Reggie at the back. I've got Hoiberg, and Skip, and Dombele. And up front, I've got Kane, Son, and I'm undecided between Dele and Lucas Moura. I think Lucas Moura up and at him at the beginning. He might run them ragged, going at him from the off, but with the option of bringing on Dele as necessary.
Brian Hill got a sniff on the right hand side there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking yes, no. I don't know. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I had Gil down there. Yeah, Gil's down there. I'm not lying. I had him down. Yeah. You can see that. It's on him. Yeah.
We believe you, Kev. We believe you.
It's here. Honestly, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, yeah. I've got him crossed out. So
you've axed him at the last minute.
I think the occasion might be too much for him, and they might chop him a bit. So I don't know, but I'd go with the old guard on this one.
Bring back Lucas Moura,
Kane's son,
providing he's fit.
Yeah, he's the one. I think he opens up a lot of doors. He unlocks the doors, doesn't he? He gets in and amongst them from the halfway line. If he can burst through, he'll take them to pieces. That Arsenal defence.
The guys watching in the comment section would like to give us your predictions for the game, score-wise. We'll go to you, Rez, next. Do you think similar lineup to Kev?
Yeah, I think so. Although I'd quite like to see a 3-5-2. I'd like to see Sanchez, Dyer, and Romero in the middle at the back. Reguilon and Emerson as wing backs. In the middle, Skip, Tongi, and Højbjerg, and Son Kane up front.
Yeah,
good team.
That's what I'd like to see. But I think he'll go with a 4-3-3, and it'll be more a Kane and Son as the front three, Dele, Tongi, and Højbjerg. Dele, Tongi, and Højbjerg as the middle three, and Romero, Sanchez, Reguilon, and Emerson.
I think we need Tanganga for this game. He's like Cody said earlier. He's the kind of battler you need, isn't he?
No, that's who you'd like, but I don't think we'll see him.
You don't think we will?
I don't think so. I think he'll play with Royale. I just got this little inkling, this little feeling.
Nick?
Yeah, so I think similar, same back four as Kev, really. So Reggie, Dyer, Romero, and Tanganga. Hugo, obviously, in goal. I'm not sure Moura's going to be fit, so it throws up a possibility, and I'd like to see, based on what we've seen in the week of Hill having his chance, with Skip, Højbjerg, Son and Kane. Does that make 11?
Yep.
Not very good at doing it on the fly. I haven't written it down like Kev.
You've got a massive great easel behind you there. You could have put it up on there.
I did the old calligraphy art out.
written their names all beautifully in pen.
Yeah. The really weird Bob Russell for our American friends.
So I think I'd like to see Hill get a chance, because I think actually it'd be exciting to see. And but yeah, we'll just have to see. He's thrown some surprises up the last few weeks. So
last time we played Arsenal, Tierney kept bombing on, didn't he? So it might push him back if we play Hill as well, because you keep, your attack is the best form of defence. Your strength is sometimes your weakness, isn't it? If we put Hill up front, they might stop Tierney getting forward as much if he's got Hill to worry about. So it might be a way to go around it. And Hill's obviously got the pace to track him up and down that. As you saw last night.
Xhaka would probably try and chop him in half, wouldn't he? Xhaka, he probably gets sent off.
Will get booked, I'm sure, if he's playing.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the score lines then. Nick, what's your score line prediction? Score and scorers
I think it's going to be 1-0, and it'll be Harry because he loves scoring. Derby. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a nervy game. Arsenal fans have been crying for the last 2 games where they've won one against bloody Burnley and Norwich or whatever it's or whoever they've been playing. I'm not really paying much interest, but yeah, they've been crowing about that. But I think I don't think it'll be a high scoring game. I'll just 1-0 and Kane. Hoping Xhaka gets sent off and it's a penalty or something. You know, it doesn't sound. You know that couldn't happen.
Beyond the realms of. Yeah. Kev, score and scorers.
3-1. Bearing in mind because they've got Ramsdale. Hopefully they've got Ramsdale in goal.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Harry Kane, Son, and Dele. Sonny to get the first one because I think he can do the damage and sneak in.
Confidence going into the game. I like it.
Yeah. Got to be. You got to feel confident. I don't like losing games, but I want us to see us play.
Yeah.
And play without fear and go at them. That's all I can ask for. If they do that and lose, I don't mind. If they just play, go ahead and push you around and lose, I hate it. You know,
after that last game there, you know, under Mourinho, it was pathetic, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I don't know if too many of those players will still be around from that game, though.
Yeah.
Rez, final word there. What's your scores and scorers going to be?
I can't call it. No? We're on paper, we're just 100 times better than they are, but then we're also on paper 100 times better than Watford are and Wolves are. So it's like, how do you think? And it's a North London derby, so form goes out the window. You know, it could be a 5-4 classic or a 1-0 ballfest. I'm gonna go more with what Nick said. 1-0 to Spurs.
Who's scoring?
Sonny. I think it's a complete shot in the dark. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, that's the thing. I either get it 100% correct or I get it completely wrong. So I don't know which one it's going to be this week.
Okay, so before we leave tonight, we also need to pick a topic for Jens's quiz for next week. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I do have one actually. I do, and funnily enough, Jimmy Greaves dying on Sunday was actually the day after the 11th anniversary of the death of Bobby Smith. He died on the 18th of September 2010. And Bobby Smith is also one of our top 3 goal scorers. And in actual fact, his goal per games ratio is better than Harry Kane's. But he seems to be a little forgotten. So I would like a quiz on Bobby Smith.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. Kev, you agreed? Yeah. Bobby Smith. Yeah. Jens, you better get up that Wikipedia page and start Googling because next week...
It's quite thin. I checked it out recently. There's not a huge amount on there.
Yeah. Before the days off.
I should be able to give him a good quiz then. He was on that Sky program, One of the Days of Our Lives. It's worth a watch. I'll put that on our channel. Bobby Smith, he's got some good old stories from back in the day. On that note, then
we are playing next Thursday, by the way.
We are we?
Yeah. ECL.
Mora, I'm going to that match.
Yeah. So we're going to do Tuesday then for the Arsenal review, or should we do Thursday or Friday and do both?
I don't mind either way. I can do either. Yeah. Whatever
the game goes on Sunday, doesn't it, really, if we can be bothered. if there's lots to talk about, I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
The Gooners on Sunday. Come on, you Spurs.